giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by Boston Scientific. We're streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker. Still, boom! What's happening, people? Cowboys back in the saddle, so I'm back in the saddle this week. We got minicamp. Dallas is gearing up for minicamp. But first, Micah reveals his superpower and the Stephen Jones Cat Boy. He talked yesterday. He said some things yesterday, and we'll go over a handful of those. Probably won't cover everything, but we got some notes to discuss. So 3 big things I want to talk about today, and then we can kind of go into the phone lines. You can tell me what you want to talk about here. 351-999-3787 is the call-in line. 351-999-3787. Again, Micah talked about his superpower, and then Stephen Jones also said some things I think were worthy of discussing as we're in this weird kind of slow period gearing up for minicamp. Now, the rest of the week will be mostly about minicamp on Thursday and Friday for sure, and tomorrow we'll probably switch it up a little bit with our state of the unit. But Dallas is the last week for them to do any team activities. And then it's training camp, man. July 24th, I believe they fly out. The 25th, they will begin the opening day. So we got a long way. We got a long way, Cowboys Nation, but we'll get through it because we always do. But what's good? Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
Hey, I see L's in the building. Shout out to Brother L. He dropped this dope graphic or remix of whatever, this picture that me, Vach, and Pat Walker took last year at training camp. This year, I think we'll do some more. I try to capture the moments a little bit more. Last year, I did a lot of, capturing the team and whatnot. And then when I was working, I was doing the interviews. But it's so weird because I stay in the moment, I live in the moment, but I got to make sure I capture those moments. But appreciate you, Brother L, for putting that together for us. I'm definitely going to take that and remix in my dang on self. So appreciate it, man. What else we got today? That's pretty much it. Coming up in the roundup, we'll come out of that. Somebody got arrested. We'll talk about that as well. And then that'll be it for the show, man. So should be an easy peasy show. And then we can talk to y'all at the end of it in the call-in line, Pulse of the Nation call-in line. So here we go. Here's the roundup. Let's get it.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Hey, yo. Antonio Callaway, what you doing, man? So, Antonio Callaway, who was signed to a futures contract at the end of last season, thought he'd get another shot in the league. A lot of people were excited about him, but, just thought he'd be another guy in the room. But you need to carry a certain number of players to training camp and whatnot. Well, he was arrested and then released. What happened, apparently he was a passenger in a car and he had his driver's license, which was suspended. He did not pay for the fine or what have you and had a warrant out for his arrest. According to the reporter down there, I believe it was in Florida. I could be wrong, but one of the reporters said that he legally did not have to identify himself as a passenger, but he did. And they found out he had a warrant and they arrested him. So that arrest led to his eventual release. Down roster guy, it's Cowboys news, but really not that look, I don't think it's going to move the needle for the Cowboys. I hate it for him because, it's another chance in the league. But, these type of things, you have to settle, man. You have to settle. I used to work in for the county where I used to deal with these minuscule type of arrest warrants. And these little things can catch up to you. I'm a little shocked, though, that the Cowboys didn't know that he had this hanging over their head. Oftentimes they have a guy that looks into these things, but because it was a down roster dude, maybe they didn't care that much. But he was released. The Cowboys held tryouts for a number of different positions, and eventually one of the guys that stood out was signed. But prior to that guy, in their tryouts, Neil Harry, Lynn Bowden, quarterback Jacob Eason, Bryce Perkins, and defensive backs Jordan Miller and Takarius Keys were all the guys that were getting worked out. Also, Tyron Johnson, wide receiver out of many different teams, by the way. So the Cowboys ended up signing Tyron Johnson, okay? 400-something total receiving yards, 23 receptions, and 3 touchdowns in his roughly 5-year career. He came out in 2019, and he didn't have much success from a production standpoint outside of 2020. Here's what's wild. This is going to be Johnson's 9th team. Make sure I got this right here. Came out of college in 2019. Texans, Bills, Panthers, Chargers, Jags, Raiders, Bengals, Niners, and Cowboys. A lot of practice squad stints, and the most time that he got as an actual player on the field during game days was in 2020. He had about 400 yards that season, 3 touchdowns. So I don't really think that Tyron Johnson is going to move the needle either. This is another, I hate to call people camp bodies, but that's kind of the cliche word you use. Do you expect Tyron Johnson to really change his stripes after 9 different teams? Look, good for him. He gets a shot. Hope it works out for him, but I'm not really expecting anything crazy out of this guy. But I hope he makes things competitive for that bottom of the roster, because the more competition, the better for the Cowboys. But after 2020, only 6 receptions on 12 targets in the last 2 seasons. So, he's not a guy that's going to move the needle for the Cowboys. A little bit older, 27 years old compared to the rest of the room. I think he'd be the second oldest guy in that room, but likely the 5th most production, which is saying something for a room outside the top 3. Isn't that great? So Tyron Johnson, a guy who the Cowboys are replacing Antonio Callaway with. As long as he stays clean off the field, he'll get a shot down there in training camp. And honestly, probably the biggest news that came out of yesterday was the confirmation that the Cowboys have started preliminary contract talks with the Cowboys' big 3 upcoming free agents. And that's where I kind of want to start at today's show with. Let me turn this down a little bit here. There we go. That's where I want to start at, because Stephen Jones mentioned something in his interview that we often say here on this channel. Let me see if I actually have the I don't have it here. Yeah, I don't have it. But basically, Stephen Jones said what he said here. Yesterday's price is not today's price when it comes to some of these guys. And oftentimes I used to give them credit for getting out in front of contracts. And he kind of explained why that hasn't happened as much. And it's because players are willing to wait, because they see that this money is going up and up, which is the reason why you should try to get it done. But let's actually listen to Stephen Jones talk about getting these contracts done with a CeeDee Lamb, a Trayvon Diggs, my guy Terrence Still. I truly do believe that's something that should not be getting overlooked. And when we come out of this interview here, I got even more words on that. But here's Stephen Jones talking about contracts with Still, Diggs, and Lamb.
But as you said, we've got more than just Diggs. Right. I mean, there's we're obviously, Adam and I are working through, how we would proceed with that, and timing's got to be right for those guys, got to be right for us. But our goal would be hopefully to get, start to chip away at this because we do have guys up, whether it's a Steele, whether it's a Diggs, whether it's CD, right on down the line. We've got, guys that, are going to need to be addressed as we move forward. But our focus is also on winning in 2023.
So there's not an order at all that you want to get them done in?
No specific order. It's just kind of when opportunity arises, and they got to be motivated to want to do it. It seems like more and more guys want to wait, and I understand why. Usually the price goes up from one year to the next, but people don't seem to be as in that type of hurry. But if the opportunity's there, we'd sure like to get 1, 2, 3 of these guys signed.
I'd like to say no order, but you would prefer to get something done, at least with one of them here.
We'd love to.
Before camp.
We'd love to do more than one if we could.
Before camp.
If we could. It doesn't mean just because you want to doesn't mean it's going to
happen. It takes two to tango. But you guys already talked with all of them.
I would say in general we've touched base with everybody, knowing that we're open-minded to it.
Takes 2 to tango. It does take 2 to tango, Steven. We know that, man. We know that. He said there's no order. I think there is an order, and my order might surprise you. But before I actually give my order here, between Trayvon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Terrence Still, give me your order. And this isn't saying that if you don't sign one, you won't sign another. I'm just saying there probably should be a bit of a priority here heading into camp. Let me rephrase this. What would be your order heading into camp? Because once you get to camp, you can still negotiate, right? Like you get to camp, it doesn't have to be one or the other. But right now, June 6th, and they're going to try to work something out over the next 7 weeks between these three. What would be your order, Cowboys Nation? Dak, well, Micah, you can't do Micah. Micah doesn't count here, Danny. So between Lamb, Diggs, and Steele, who would you sign in an order or what have you? We can include Dak, and I get it because Tom talked about this last week. Dak will help open up cap for next year, but cap has already been opened up for this year. So extending Dak for cap reasons or what have you really wouldn't help you. He already did that. So basically just trying to stick to these three. Still, Diggs, Lamb, Diggs, Still, Lamb, Diggs, Lamb, Still, Diggs, Still, Lamb. Hey, shout out to my brother Lee. Said his baby girl Reese graduates tonight. Had a full ride to Carlo University. Hey, bro, congratulations, man. I just now noticed that in the middle of this. Apologies, y'all, but that's my brother from another. So appreciate you, big dog. And congratulations to your girl. I remember seeing her coming up down in the den, and it's crazy. Time flies. Now she graduated, brother. Congratulations, man. So my order probably is not going to be the order for everyone else here. I got Terrence Still as number one. Yeah. And here's why I was thinking about Terrence Still as the guy, Cowboys Nation. It's not that, oh, this guy is the best, is a better player or what have you. No. I started to think about how the Joneses go about this thing. And usually they play a little hardball. Usually these things kind of drag out. And if you go off their history, somebody gets the tag. What if I told you that the tag for an offensive lineman is higher than that of a cornerback and wide receiver? And I don't think we can play a game with Terrence Still as, oh, well, you know what? We'll just let Terrence Still walk. This offensive line ain't like that. To just be like, we're just going to let Terrence walk. No. You have the potential to have two anchors, two bookend tackles for the future in Terrence Still and Tyler Smith. And if you get out in front of Terrence, even better because you get it cheaper. This is why I want to do it last year, but that's water under the bridge. Here we are right now. So if you look at Terrence Still's potential tag, which again, this is thinking kind of in the future, but you got to think in the future. Because if he comes out and balls out, either you're signing him or you're tagging him. I don't think you're letting him walk. He already balled to me last year, but it is what it is. $23.8 million is the franchise tag for a tackle. I don't think they want to see that hit the cap for a couple seasons, man. $20 million for Diggs and $23 million for CeeDee Lamb. So I got Still as number one for a bunch of different reasons. I think it'd be the most easiest to get done. And as an undrafted guy, right? I don't know that he'd be really looking for anything. I shouldn't say anything crazy. Right? I shouldn't say that. But I feel like he'd be easier to please. You know, going from undrafted to making 17, 18, 19 million, whatever it's going to be for a top tackle. But that won't hit the cap for a number of years. I feel like you can get him under the average of these other two dudes. So Terrence Still for me is number one. I don't think me personally, I would play with the line. I don't think you got it like that with the farm system right now. You got a guy in Tyron who's going to retire soon. He's not your future at right tackle. Zach Martin could be on his way out too. Let's just say, I mean, playing, this is terrible devil's advocate here, but if Tyron retires next year, Zach decides to walk and you let Terrence go. Oh, by the way, Tyler Biadasz is a free agent. So, you don't want to have to deal with that. Lock up Terrence right now. And then I got Trayvon Diggs. Kind of for the same reasons when we were talking about Trayvon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb. Trayvon Diggs does not have another year where CeeDee Lamb has a 5th-year option. So they cannot sign CeeDee Lamb now and still be able to use or get after him in year 5. Whereas Trayvon Diggs, again, thinking about the Cowboys, thinking about how Stephen Jones operates. And the way that Stephen Jones operates, that's not Stephen Jones. That's Stephen Jones. Is he'll use that franchise tag. He'll slap it on somebody. Trayvon Diggs franchise tag, if they don't work anything out, is $20 million. Not saying that's cheap, but it's not higher than the other two. It's not a quarterback franchise tag, and it's not obviously the offensive lineman franchise. These are projected franchise tags. Diggs might be the hardest one to get locked in, though. That's the issue here. Diggs might be the toughest one to lock in because he did something that no player has done in like 40 years. And that's get double 11 interceptions. Hasn't been done since a former Dallas Cowboy, by the way. Shout out to Evans Wall. But he's got that going to the negotiation table. He's got, I've got the most interceptions in the last, 2 seasons coming to the table. All pro. It's going to be tough. He's going to ask for probably around that $20 million range. And we know that Steven is not trying to set the mark for 3 different positions: quarterback, wide receiver, and corner. I don't think Terrence would reset the market. But those other 3 guys have the potential to reset the market. So I think Diggs has to also, all these guys are priorities. But if I was Dallas, he has to be up there before, in my opinion, Lamb and before Dak, because with Dak and Lamb, they're under contract for the next 2 seasons. You can work on something afterwards. But with Terrence and Trayvon Diggs, that is not the case. And when it comes to Terrence Still, I don't think you want to slap the franchise tag on him. But if you were to, it'd be more expensive, almost $4 million more than Trayvon Diggs. So that's why I got it. Still, Diggs, and CeeDee Lamb. Little context to these things here. Look, there is no real order. It doesn't matter how they do it. Get them all done, in my opinion. And yes, it's all possible. And they want to try to get them all done according to Stephen Jones. But no, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. So let's get back to it now. What order, after hearing kind of how I was relaying this here, would you still go with most people? Diggs, Lamb, and then Still. Diggs, Lamb, and then Still. Diggs about to break the bank. I agree, DP. There's no reason you can't sign everyone. I mean, they've done it before. Again, I hate to keep bringing this up, but I really do think they dropped the ball here with Terrence Still, and they could have got it done last year for the cheap. But it is what it is. We're here. Health concerns? Is that the issue here? I see some people saying there may be possible health concerns around Terrence Still. That's fair. That's fair if you want to go that route. But I think he'll be fine. He seems to be on track. Many people down there are under the belief that, he's ahead of schedule. We saw the video of him working with Duke Manyweather. And again, I just think protecting your quarterback is super important. But not only that, I don't think they have enough behind them for the future, that is, to be like, oh, we'll risk it with Terrence Still. We'll risk it. And damn, if Professor O said his market value is 15 million. If it's 15, say you get Terrence at 15, I think that's excellent. That's excellent value, man. It's excellent value. All right, number 2 on the notebook list here. More Stephen Jones discussion, by the way. Jordan Lewis, another update. Jordan Lewis came out the other day and talked about his injury. Talked about it was a little worse than what we knew. Apparently, it was one of the worst Liz Frank injuries. Is it Liz Frank? Plantar fasciitis? Same thing, different, whatever. But it was one of the worst injuries his doctor has seen before. And Stephen Jones also talked about Jordan Lewis. And here's a quote on Jordan Lewis from Stephen. Here's a quote about Jordan Lewis from Stephen Jones. Quote, with Lewis looking more and more, not more and more, it's looking pretty definitive that he'll go on PUP. We could use a little depth at corner just for numbers. So we talked about this the other day. The more information you get, the more data you get, the more your opinion has context and it can move. For Jordan Lewis, I didn't know his Liz Frank or his plantar fasciitis was this bad. And it's a possibility that he may not be ready for camp, to the point where Stephen Jones said it's likely he's going to start on PUP. Now, I didn't get any numbers, or I'm sorry, I didn't get any details on if that's PUP for camp or PUP for the season. So I think one of the reporters went on to ask him about adding depth and what ways to add depth. And he talked about possible trades heading into camp. Well, here's the cornerback reserve list behind the top 4 that we talked about the other week. But here's what Stephen Jones had to say about potential trades. Quote, we'll see if we want to trade any guys out there, trade out any guys out there here after we're done with these last couple of weeks. There's a chance we may trade some guys out that we don't want to take to camp, and we'll replace that guy with another at the same position. So when you're talking about trading guys out, we're likely talking about bottom roster guys, especially if Jordan Lewis is going to be on the PUP list and trying to add depth, and not just corner, right? That's the thing, not just corner, but in general. So I wanted to look at the bottom roster type dudes. And the first position we talk about, let's talk about it here, is corner. The 2 big names, obviously, are Nahshon Wright, Kelvin Joseph. I don't think you're trading. You just drafted Eric Scott. Miles Brooks is an undrafted guy with no camp tape yet. Nobody's going to trade for him just quite yet. So if we're talking about trades in the cornerback room, it has to start with Nahshon and Kelvin Joseph, correct? Like, it has to start with this. And if I was Nahshon or Kelvin, I would not be pleased after hearing that. Now, again, it doesn't mean that it's going to be corner, but I wanted to start it here with corner because for all intent and purposes, let's just pretend right now Jordan Lewis is on PUP. They're trying out Kelvin Joseph in the slot. They're seeing what he has. However, with Jordan Lewis out, he's not working with those guys. The first team, it was Eric Scott who got the kind of call up in the second round of OTAs. So I think it's fair to say right now that Kelvin Joseph, according to many reports, is still working his way up. Nahshon Wright could be in the same boat. I mean, it's fine to put those 2 guys in the same boat if you want. So these 2 dudes could be potential trade out guys at the cornerback position. What about safety?
But as you said, we've got more than just Diggs.
Don't want to listen to you, Steven. Don't want to listen to you. What about safety, though? I was looking at our lads, looking at the depth chart, trying to figure out which bottom of the roster guys at safety could the Cowboys potentially trade out. We've seen them do this before. Tre'Davious Ward. Now, that was kind of late in camp, but they've done this before. So I was looking. Tyler Coyle. Wanye Thomas. Those are the only two guys. Because I'm looking at rooms that have some depth per se, and guys that I feel like the Cowboys are high on. So the Marquise Bells, the Izzies, right? And you already got top three. You got 5 safeties the Cowboys believe in. I think we're going to make this team barring any injury. So now we're looking at beyond that. Cornerback, same situation. You got 5 guys. I'm going to throw in Eric Scott. You got 5 corners with the position flex of Izzy. So corner could be a down roster. Corner could be another guy that they can get rid of as well prior to camp. Safety, corner, Coyle, right? Joseph, Wanye. I'm not really, the only ones I could think that might potentially net something is Kelvin Joseph, but Kelvin Joseph, he's got a lot of baggage with him. So I don't know if a team, maybe a team that, says, hey, look, we're willing to look away from that baggage and give him a shot here to actually play corner. Maybe that could happen. Maybe somebody likes the traits, and maybe that could happen. But I'm looking at the roster and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about safety. I don't know about corner. Oh, but then I get the defensive tackle. Neville Gallimore. Quentin Bohanna. Mind you, this is according to Stephen Jones. Let me make sure I get this right. There's a chance we may trade some guys out that we don't want to take to camp, and we'll replace the guy with another at the same position. Now, that doesn't mean it's always going to work out. Maybe, they have a plan and get punched in the mouth and they got to pivot from that plan. But if we're talking about position for position, I don't think defensive tackle, it should be ruled out. If you can swap a Gallimore or Bohanna, probably a Gallimore because he's got more film, more years or what have you. But if you can swap a Gallimore or Bohanna for a traits guy, for a fresh start for another dude, for a true one tech or another true 3 tech, although I think they got enough of those dudes, but nonetheless, more depth can't hurt you. I don't think Gallimore really fits anywhere anymore, me personally. Now, if he goes out there and has a fantastic camp, great for the Cowboys. But to me, he's kind of on the outside looking in. So between corner, between safety, and between defensive tackle, those are the 3 positions, and it's all defense, that I'm looking at as potential guys to swap in, swap out. I feel like Neville Gallimore is the blinking red light right now. The blinking red light is Neville Gallimore. You could argue Kelvin Joseph got the second round pedigree. You could argue Quentin Bohanna because Bo, he plays a specific role. He's a 1 tech that you could trade a 7th round pick for and get him in there as a 1 tech and kind of being rotation. But Neville Gallimore, he's determined. He's on I think his last year of his deal. And again, not saying that matters. Not saying that's going to translate to success on the field. But Neville just seems to be that blinking red light of a guy that they'll trade out. So I haven't heard anything. We're just kind of speculating here. We're talking about what Stephen Jones said. I've got Neville Gallimore as that potential guy being traded out before camp. If you had to guess, Cowboys Nation, who would be the guy on the outs prior to camp? I got Neville. here. Bo, I'll bring up Bo because, again, I'm trying to be fair here. They drafted Mozzie Smith. You got Osa, you got Hankins. I think Chauncey Golston fits in all of this too as well. And look, Bohanna, he's a 1 tech. He's not, and maybe they'll just focus him at 1 tech now as opposed to kind of moving him around a little bit like he did last year. But Bo, I could throw Bo's name in there. I just don't think Bo is a disappointment as much as Gallimore is. Bo's a 6th round pick. That's a 1 tech. He's not a guy that I was ever looking to be. I don't know, Jonathan Hankins. I wasn't looking really for him to be that good. Hankins is a top, pick in the NFL draft. But maybe another team looks at Bo and say, hey, we can make something out of him. So a lot of people are on the Neville Gallimore train here. I think that's the one. Professor O, they have to watch the show to get that one. You got to watch the show. Nashawn Wright is growing. Cowboys hard here to say Nation Ryan's growing. He will be an impact. Impact of what? You know, like I would love for him to be an impact, but that means somebody has to get hurt. Because Nation Wright right now is what, cornerback 5, 6, depending on, you know, how you look at the room. So I'm just being honest here. Somebody would have to get hurt for him to have any type of impact on this team. Unless you're talking special teams. And now going back a little bit here, the guru said the Cowboys are setting up, or he thinks the Cowboys are setting up a departure replacement for Still, Matt Waletzko. That could be the case as well. Matt Waletzko, ironically, another thing that's on the notes here that we're not going to get into today because I want to get to the Micah thing. Matt Waletzko there was at left guard as well, trying him out at left guard. So they're leaving no stone unturned at this left guard position. Many tackles out of college or in general, Edoja, awesome. Waletzko, maybe Still. We don't know yet. According to Gelkin, Still has not been asked to play left guard in any capacity yet. We'll see what happens. But all these guys are getting left guard type of reps, and those guys are tackles by trade. So maybe Waletzko could be the replacement, but I'm not ready to sit here and have that confidence though, the guru. I mean, if they're looking to replace Still with Waletzko better go off, you know, in camp. He better go off. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's get to the phone lines prior to rapping about Micah Parsons. Start with 562. What it is, what it do.
Yo, what's up, Skye? Good morning, man.
Good morning, my guy. How are you?
I'm good. I want to make 2 points. It's not really on your topic today because I listen to you all throughout the week. You and Watch, whatever. I play them back because I work at night, so normally I sleep during the day. And I don't always get the opportunity to listen to like you and watch the show live. And I'm always having these ideas. I want to kick it back to you, but I never get the opportunity. So a couple things 2 points basically. I want to run by you, and just cut me off. Let me know whatever.
Gotcha.
And the first point is this idea that the Cowboys are going to because part of it has to do with Mike McCarthy said I want to run the damn ball, which is true, whatever. But there's this idea that the Cowboys are going to win games 25-17. All of a sudden, like they're going to dip. And I'm not buying that idea because these guys with Dak, and now with Cooks, they roll out of bed. They're going to score 20-something points a game. They're going to roll out of bed and do that. The defense is going to get you turnovers. Defense is going to get you short fields. You're still going to score a lot of points. The punt team scores like the punt right defense. Punt defense scores points. So there's this idea that we're going to be this slow moving sluggish. No, dude, like don't subscribe to that. There's talent. Lamb is going to run past people. Pollard's going to run past people. Dak is going to run over a couple people every now and get those first downs, keep the thing going. They're still going to score. And with Mike McCarthy now implementing his true philosophy and what he wants to do, I think it's going to still be right around the same thing. With that, since Romo, we've been, a high-scoring offense.
Yes.
No matter who's the OC, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. These guys have rolled out of bed as far as talent goes without coaching.
Yeah.
As far as talent goes.
I kind of came around to the same thinking that you're having here, but I'm not going to lie. I was on the other side of that in a way when McCarthy came out. Not necessarily 10 toes like, the Cowboys going to win 20-19 type games. No, it was when McCarthy said, I don't care about being the number one offense. I want to be the number one team. And I didn't take the running thing out of, like a lot of people took that and blew it up. I don't think he wants to be a 40 carry a game type of.
Oh, no.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
But there was a point in time where I was like, hey, man, and I think this was, I don't even think Cooks was here yet when he had that interview. Yeah, this was around Combine.
It was, right. It was earlier. Yeah.
So to me, until they went out and got a receiver, I was like, you know what, maybe we will sacrifice, points for methodical, and they still could be methodical. But it might not be as explosive, or it might not be, the variance might not be crazy, because it was a crazy variance, bro. You'd have games where the offense was just going berserk, and you have games where they have a quarter and a half where they go berserk or something like that. And then you have games where, you got Washington, you got prior to the Colts getting all those turnovers, it was a tough game there. So I was on that side. I was thinking, maybe they will sacrifice some points for methodical drives, helping the defense, et cetera, et cetera. Then they went out and got Cooks.
Okay.
All right. So they went out and got Cooks.
So wait. So where you at now then?
I'm with you. I don't think the Cowboys are going to. I don't think the Cowboys are going to suffer that much, as many national media pundits think, from a scoring standpoint. No, sir. I think they'll be efficient. That's what I thought they would do. I thought they would replace the high-scoring, high-powered, quote-unquote, offense with more of an efficient offense. But within that efficiency, I could see them still having explosive plays. They got Cooks now. Cooks is a guy they haven't had in forever. They brought in a Deuce Vaughn, right? Do we see
the talent is there? Is my point.
Yeah, and look, they got explosive guys that could potentially be featured in this offense. Tony Pollard is going to be the feature guy now. He's no longer kind of the, hey, we're going to open up with Zeke and kind of pound the defense and hope they get soft, and then boom, here comes Tony Pollard. Nah, Tony Pollard's opening the games. That's a different story than Turpin. Maybe Turpin gets involved. Who knows with guys like Semi. Tolbert is getting more comfortable, and Tolbert's a downfield guy. If you get the 2019 type of or 2020 type of Michael Gallup back, the talent is definitely there. And I don't think this offense is going to suffer as much as many thought when McCarthy first said it, because I don't think the team was put together just quite yet.
Yeah. And just compound that with the defense. They're going to get
look, the defense
in the league. They're getting
amazing.
Yeah. Okay. And my other point I want to make real quick. I'm not sure last night if you heard Boss, Cowboy, and Law and all them, they had on Brian Brodus, right?
Okay.
Because they were talking about that, Brian saying turnovers are in Dak's DNA.
Oh, yeah.
Because of
B got some heat for that.
his risk-taking. Yeah, and it turned out to be an amazing show. It's an amazing show.
Oh, man, always amazing show with those guys.
But the point I want to make about that is this. See, the reason why he came to Boss, like allegedly, like he sent a message to Boss and Jay Tuck, say, hey, I want to talk about it. The reason he did that is because all of us, all of our collective voices, we funnel our voices up. As long as you don't have stupid takes and you're not like cussing them out, saying, hey, dude, you're an idiot. Like, no.
Oh, people on Twitter be like that.
Yes. But my point is have a good take. Have a rational take. We funnel our ideas up through you, right? I'm calling into your show. All of us, we're texting in. We're calling in. We got the chat going, right? We funnel it up through you. And through you, Boss, and all you guys, you funnel it up further. And eventually it does get to the Cowboys organization, believe it or not. Kevin Moore is not gone. Like Mike McCarthy had a big-ass hand in that. But according to John Machota, they look on, Twitter twice a week. They have, I don't know what their count is, but John Machota did an interview with Pick Six Sports in the offseason.
Steven got the burner account going?
Yeah. And he said they look on Twitter twice a week to see what the pulse is. So as long as you're not just cussing people out saying, F you, you're a loser, this and that, like the Dak sucks, trade Dak, that's dumb. But if you have constructive criticism, funnel it up further, funnel it up through you, through Botch, all y'all, and then you guys funnel it up further when you guys get on, like Patrick Walker. And then they have the connections. Don't be dumb, bro. We got to stop being dumb Cowboy. Well, I'm not saying me personally, but there's a lot of like,
when you say them, you ain't talking about us. You're talking about them.
Yeah. You like the guy Trey Micah Parsons. Like, no, stop. Be smart about this thing. Be constructive in your criticism. Understand a little bit about the contracts, all that stuff. Like funnel it up further to get to where we want to be. Funnel it up, and then you Skye, you Boss, all y'all motherfuckers. Law, you guys funnel it up further, and it does get to the organization eventually. It does, believe it or not, it gets to them.
In closing,
all right. So I love what you're doing, man. Dude, I remember you back from the late night high, like back in the day, bro. I remember all that stuff, bro. So you out here kicking butt. Trying not to cuss. You out here kicking butt. And just keep doing what you're doing, brother. All right.
Oh man, appreciate you, man. Salute.
Yep.
He's ready to cuss y'all out. Brother. Hey, I forget the dude's name, but he ready to cuss y'all out. Look, man, one thing I've learned doing this, and I'm still learning, man. I actually reached out to Brian and said the same. I said this to him. I said, I'm learning that, you cannot please everybody, and I've tried to have fun with those crazy takes as opposed to going super berserk. And look, I lean into the angry Skye because it's fun with y'all sometimes. But trust me, it could be way worse because there's some ridiculous takes. So I agree with the caller. I open the lines. I make this a major feature part of the show because I like to have quality conversations, not just provide a quality show, but quality conversations with the nation, pulse of the nation, right? That's why we call the line Pulse of the Nation, because we are the pulse, I believe, of the nation. And yeah, it can definitely get funneled up. How far up? That's neither here nor there. But I can tell you one thing: the big media, if you want to call them that, they watching. I mean, we've all but been told that, whether it be from a positive standpoint, right, where we get complimented on the work that we do, or whether it be from a negative standpoint where they try to call you out or what have you. But they watching. We know they watching. And as long as we continue to hold it down in this community the right way, I'm gonna say this: we might have been an afterthought at one point. We are no longer an afterthought. We are right there with them. In fact, in certain cases, I think we exceed them when it comes to certain aspects. We can't get as close because we're not there, but in certain aspects, we can provide more in a less filtered opinion than they can, in my opinion. And that's not even I'm not coming at them. This is exactly what Derek Eagleton told me when I talked to him. Like, yeah, look, y'all can do more than we can do. It's flat out what he said. Would you have the ability to yada, yada, yada? Hey, look, this is why I think the community is so successful, because we don't have that filter. So there is a line they have to walk. That's just facts. Let's get a guy who walks no line. He crosses them all, but sometimes he is a habitual line stepper. What's good, Toxic Tom?
Good morning, Skye. First off, I got a bone to pick with you. You don't have a show yesterday, and then today you show the Rosie O'Donnell doppelganger as the top story. Oh, come on. Come on.
Who's the Rosie O'Donnell doppelganger?
Stephen Jones.
Wait, he called him. I got to go look here. Wait a minute. Keep going. I mean,
but as you said,
my bad. That's not the
one. You bring up a lot of interesting points, and I like what you're going, but listening to what Stephen Jones has been saying, yeah, you see it now. You can't unsee it. But there's a lot of subtleties with that he's talking, and you got to really read between the lines with the Joneses because they're never truthful. A lot of what he's saying I'm not really a fan of, because to me, when you are the general manager and you're wearing your big boy Duprees or your big boy diapers, your job is to get deals done. I don't want to hear from you, who wants all the credit, why you can't get it done. That's why you make the big bucks. That's why you always try to get in front of everything. You either get it done or be quiet. So when I'm hearing him talk about, and he's pushing back on the players, it just made me think, do you know any other general manager who's going out right now in the press and talking the way he is about our players with money? Anyone?
So Toxic, they did ask him, and I can't believe I'm about to defend this guy, but they did ask him the question. Here's where I will agree with you. He gets a bit too excited, though. Like, he gets, when he said, it takes two to tango, and he gets a bit too excited when it comes to that. But they did ask him the question. Do you want him to not answer it? Is that the beef you have with him? Just kind of say, look, man, we'll talk, we'll deal with that when we get with it and keep it moving.
That would be way better than him saying something along the lines of, if I could get it done, I would. What do you mean if you could get it done? Like, what are you trying to say here? I think of the way that you treated your franchise quarterback, where we literally saw him in a cast crying his eyes out because you franchise tagged him and you played hardball with him. And now you're over here talking. If they're going to play hardball with Dak Prescott on that, I can bet my life they're going to play hardball with everyone else in that building. And to air your grievances and make it sound like that somehow it's, again, reading between the lines, that it's also, it's on the players. Well, Steven, you're also notorious and on the record of offering crappy offers to people like you're a fantasy football manager, trading away Kelvin Joseph and trying to get Patrick Mahomes.
So essentially his history is playing against him. So in a way, it really doesn't matter what Stephen Jones says for you because his history shows that it's going to be hardball.
Yes, and the fact that he airs it out there as well, and it's his choice of words. When I hear Stephen Jones, it doesn't sound like a man that wants to get things done. It sounds like a man that is willing to fight tooth and nail to get every single penny, regardless of the outcome and what it does to the relationship of the player that you're trying to
we
extend.
know that. That ain't nothing new.
And if it's nothing new, and I look around the league and I look at successful franchises, for instance, the Howie Roseman deal with Jalen Hurts, I didn't hear anything. And that got done in the dead of night, and they moved on with it.
So So Tom, you just getting mad at that stuff we already, as Cowboy fans, we've already accepted. So you just getting mad. You just getting yourself mad, brother. Like the way other teams operate when it comes to this is never going to be like Dallas Cowboys operate. No one cares about Philly outside of Philly. No one cares.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So and we know, we heard what Jerry Jones said. If they're talking about us, we're doing our job, right? Like you're getting upset for what we know that they do, brother. So I wouldn't even worry about it so much. This they come out every year, ask about contracts, and Stephen Jones pretty much says the same damn thing every year, bro.
Yeah. I guess also on top of the fact that Jerry Jones cried to say, oh yeah, there's no one going into the Ring of Honor this year as well, which again, I think big picture. I hear how, the Cowboys are operating differently. They're doing things differently. To a degree,
you said that. Yeah, about to say, you said that.
I did say that in some capacity, and that when it comes to personnel acquisition, they have changed to a degree. But when you always say, is it enough to overcome? And I think, and this is going to sound really mean, but
we're talking contracts now.
It sounds like the same dictatorship, but just a different cabinet. And they're twisting it. Oh, we did this different, but we're still going to act in this toxic, backwards, awful manner that literally has netted us nothing for 27 years. If you were going to change and change the way you do things, you go all in, not half-ass, all in.
So what happened to all in, Tom? Steven start talking and you're all out now because of contracts?
Oh, I'm not all out. I'm all in because this is going to sound crazy for me, that I'm hopeful that Mike McCarthy has enough pull that there is no longer that Skip Pete on the roster that's just inserting Ezekiel Elliott, or that Mike McCarthy has enough pull to say, you don't talk to my coaching staff you have to go through me the way it should go. The biggest obstacle the Cowboys have is the Joneses. And
we know that.
And I asked the chat, do you think the Joneses can stay out of the way long enough to let Mike McCarthy do his job? God forbid it means that they lose out on any ounce of credit.
But his job
is my biggest
His
fear.
job ain't to sign these guys. Unfortunately, he's not the general manager.
And I look at when the Cowboys have done things in the past, and again, I can only go off of history. When the Cowboys have had good teams, the Joneses are like herpes, man. They just find a way to flare back up in the most awful moments and do and say things. And it's just like, what are you doing, man?
Bro, don't ever put all in toxic ever again, bro. You ain't all in, dog. that was a facade. You got a hype when we got those two other guys. You right back to toxic time. I can dig it, man.
I'm all in on Mike McCarthy. I believe in Mike McCarthy, and I believe that Mike McCarthy is 1,000% a coach that can get the job done. And he gets way too much blame. And the fact that Sean Payton is compared to be a genius, when you look at their track records, they're nearly identical. Mike McCarthy doesn't get enough credit. But it's just a pause when we're at year 4, Mike McCarthy, and the Joneses finally realized, yeah, maybe this Kellen Moore thing was a bad idea. No shit, Sherlock. I could have told you that 4 years ago and probably made an NFC Championship appearance by then. That is my ultimate fear with this, is that I believe in our coaching staff and our players. I do not believe in our management. And when I hear them playing hardball, and the fact that the Dak deal is still lingering on, and that he's saying, I hope we can get it done. No, I want to hear from my leadership that sets the culture of your organization. We will get this done. We will find a way. More to follow. None of that wishy-washy crap. Again, Rosie O'Donnell, it boils my blood that these guys are claimed to be football people when in reality they're just carnival hucksters. So other than that, I want to say I really hope this works out, and I hope Mike McCarthy gets everything he needs because it's time. It's beyond time. And the fact that the Dallas Stars, the Texas Rangers, every other sports franchise has made a championship appearance for most of this chat, and other teams have never even seen this team sniff it, I really hope this fan base comes out to Jones and holds them accountable for every single action that they do, including in the mainstream media. That is do not let these people off the hook. Do not. And the last thing I'll say is they need to really, really bring back Ryan Nall. You have a good day.
Of course. It's not a Toxic Tom call without the Jones slander and Ryan Nall. You can always count on Toxic Tom to give you my Jones, Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones toxicity. Hey, I don't really have anything else to add. I mean, again, I can do this every day. We can come on here and talk about Jerry Jones and the Stephen Jones and this and that and that and this. I could. It'd be a tired, boring show. But, you know, I say what I say all the time, man. You got to overcome the front office, but I'm not pushing that hard on them this summer just quite yet. I mean, it's not over yet because they've done things that I've asked them to do for years, and that's make these type of moves to accelerate this window, if you will. We're in June, you know. They asked him about contracts. He answered the question about contracts. Look, no matter what he says, nobody's going to like what Stephen Jones has to say, and I can dig it. Y'all know me. I'm king coming at Catboy. I'll come at him left and right. But I mean, he ain't lie. It takes two to tango. It just is what it is, man. He ain't lie. Like, players are waiting because the money is going up. Now it's just about getting it done at some point. Blame the media. Look, Cowboys media is different. Philly ain't asking about the contracts because they know that's not going to get that many clicks. You ask the Cowboys brass about contracts, I guarantee you Twitter's retweeting. I guarantee you all the clicks is happening online. You know, Dallas Morning News is getting it. The Athletic is getting it. Come on, man. The media know what they doing here. They know what they doing. So I'm not getting all worked up about it. I know how these dudes operate. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I've become numb to how they operate in regards to the contract situation. Like you said, though, just get it the hell done. Now, we want to talk about the coaching and all that other stuff. That's a whole different story. But sticking to the contract situation, I'm not getting mad at what he said about the contracts, man. It does take two to tango. That's just facts. Dak Prescott proved that when they dropped the ball and tried to extend him earlier. Dak said, oh, yeah? Or as people said, oh, yeah, nah, we don't want 5. We want 4. Nah, I'm going to wait. And yeah, you shouldn't have waited, you know? So it does take two to tango. They just got to get on the dance floor. And it sounds like they're getting on the dance floor. So I'm not going to look at that as a negative. Let's see if they can actually, you know, get these 3 guys done prior into the training camp. But, you know, it wouldn't be Toxic Time without, you know, Toxic Time being toxic, man. 808 Heartbreak. What it is, what it do?
How you doing, brother? Will, this is Sonny from Hawaii.
Is who?
Sonny from Hawaii.
Oh, what's good, Sonny? The other Sonny. We got 2 Sonnies, man.
Oh, nice. And I just wanted to, I was listening to the show today. I seen you talking about contracts, and I guess I'm just more worried than you are about it. I just wanted to see where your thought process is you set out to the show that you're not really worried about all these contracts and getting all of these guys signed.
I don't know if I said that. I said that they can get them all. I feel like they can get them done. Like, there should be no excuse to not get them done. Worried or not worried, I wouldn't use that word, but go on.
Oh, sorry if I phrased it that way, but along those lines, I don't see how we can go with all these guys. The way they're going, we got about 4 major people we got to sign: CD, Micah, Trey, and that.
Micah Parsons is not up for a contract extension. But
but within the upcoming years and stuff. Out of all these guys, are you gonna say, like, who's gonna take that friendly contract, that team friendly contract? Because if they all ask for market resets, I don't see how we're going to do this in terms of stuff. And at the end of the day, when it comes to it, Micah Parsons is going to get his $30 million a year contract. They're not going to play with his contract. I don't believe so. So out of all those 4 guys within these upcoming years, who's going to go team friendly?
I don't know if any of them is going to go team friendly.
You think that we can do more? Because I think Trevon Diggs is my guy right there. And I feel like with Dallas, I don't know why, but Dallas Cowboys, sometimes their fans criticize Trevon Diggs just as much as the haters. So I'm a big Trevon Diggs fan. He's done more than enough to deserve his contract, but I don't think he's going to ask for anything less for them than a market reset. Same thing with Micah Parsons. Dak, I feel like he's coming up on his payday. I don't think he's going to take team friendly either. I just don't think the numbers are going to work out as well as you think they are.
I didn't say that. I don't know how it's going to work out. But what I'm saying is there's no excuse that you can't sign all these guys, especially they definitely had the opportunity to do it last year in regards to a Terrence Still. But, yeah, I don't think any of them are going to take a market value, or not say market value, but a what do you call it, team-friendly deal. I think Micah's going to reset it. Dak may or may not. All depends on what happens with Burrow and Herbert, but I don't think he necessarily needs to because he got his first payday. But I think he could get a huge payday. But there's no excuse is what I'm saying. I'm not a capologist. I don't have numbers to give you with these guys, but there really is no excuse not to get it done because they can maneuver the cap. And if they're looking to try to get this dub, to get this ring in the next 2 to 4 years, you got to retain most of these dudes, if not all of them, in my opinion. So you're not taking a step back on your team. So, I get it from a fan standpoint, worrying about paying everybody. It's not my money, so I don't really trip about, paying players that are worthy. Let me say that. I feel like if you're worthy to get paid and you're important to a team, Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott, Terrence Still, CeeDee Lamb are all worthy and important to this team. You find a way to get it done. And with the cap going up over the next couple of years with these TV contracts, I don't see a reason why you can't get it done. The only way you would not get it done is if you don't want to because you want to save money on the cap. That's pretty much it.
And that's where we can agree on. The biggest I love your stance on Terrence Still, man. Like I don't mean to sound like a broken record with Kellen Moore. Every time I come on the show, you hear me criticizing Kellen Moore, but Dan Quinn came in and he's done a phenomenal job of developing players. Yeah. Like they said on the show, you can't have all first round picks. You got to develop some guys. And throughout these years, Terrence Still is one of the very few examples of how we've been able to develop guys on offense. But on defense, we're developing almost like our secondary, third, everybody's getting developed so well and stuff. So, but under Kellen Moore, I swear, like no other guys besides our big guys were producing. I think besides Tony Pollard, but Tony Pollard wasn't like a secret and stuff. We first started seeing him play, and he was phenomenal. We could see it.
Yeah, I never looked at Kellen as a guy that's going to help guys develop because he didn't coach long enough to do that. He wasn't a position coach first, right, for an extended period of time. Yeah. He was a quarterback's coach for like 8 months, and then he became offensive coordinator. But he's not a coach's coach. He's a play caller, right? He's a guy that designs plays and whatnot. So I never really expected him to coach up guys. But Tony Pollard, like you said Wilson, some dudes came out of the system and got paid or what have you. But I credit a lot of that. Regards to like Schultz and Said and Cobb, I'll credit a lot of that to Dak personally. But hey, look, Kellen Moore, he's off to a different team. Let's see what he does over there. But I don't think he's a guy that I'm looking at for development. I would more so look at the position coaches offensively, in my opinion. Offensive line coach, if you talk about Terrence Still, if you want to give Philbin credit, Kitna for helping develop Dak. I think in that 1 year, I thought it meant a whole lot to Kitna. The problem was, and I said this last week, he didn't stick around to help continue the development. So he didn't really have another guy. He leaned on Doug Nussmeier, but I think that Kitna would have been better for him, even though Dak and Doug were around for a while. But yeah, I never looked at Kellen as a guy to develop. So maybe Mike McCarthy will help with that. Schottenheimer, who's been around, right? He can help with that. Solari, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll say this last, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. But I get it with the position coaches, but Mike McCarthy did it with the Green Bay Packers, and Jason Garrett. Like a lot of people have things to say about him, me included. But we gave chances to people. Lucky Whitehead, all these guys who came in, the guys who weren't our big guys, we developed them. And it wasn't just Jason Garrett.
Lucky Whitehead wasn't developed.
I believe so. I don't think he came in like that.
Came in like what? Lucky Whitehead was a returner that had like 5 good carries as a jet sweep guy. Then he was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, the reason why he was gone was more because of personal issues. And I think if
he wasn't part of the offense. But anyway, man. So you're saying that Jason Garrett. You're saying that Jason Garrett was a guy that developed guys better? Is that what you're saying?
I was just saying, like, the head coach can be to put a hand in that in developing players. I believe so.
Okay.
But I won't take up too much of your time, brother. Hey, great show. Love all the views you be getting and stuff like that. You have a great day, man. God bless.
Salute. Hey, who said that? Hallelujah said, I would not tolerate any Jason Garrett praise. I actually do here's the one thing I give Garrett credit for, the biggest one. Is for changing the culture up front. Like, Jerry Jones wanted nothing to do with drafting offensive linemen. Nothing. Jason Garrett came in here and took 3 offensive linemen in the first 4 drafts. Yeah, 11, 13, 14. 3 offensive linemen in the first 4 drafts. So, I do give him credit for that. But, yeah, I mean, look, Lucky Whitehead didn't develop nothing. I don't even... It is what it is. Let's get to the end of the show here, which I want to bring up Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons revealed his superpower, Cowboys Nation. And he had a lot to talk about in his interview, but I kind of want to stick to this talking point here because I think this is very, very important. And it's something that we've been hammering home for, I want to say by about mid-season. When we realized what was happening with Micah Parsons playing mostly defensive end, we were like, look, man, Micah is great because he can be great in multiple spots. And even Dan Quinn talked about, hey, it's easier to take a guy out. Mike McCarthy talked about that as well in his interview, that it's easier to take a guy out if they're at one spot. So they had about a 15-minute interview with Micah Parsons, but this one right here is something that I wanted to point out. And he talks about his position flex and cracked a little joke about moving around. So this is Micah Parsons on his position flex.
Mike said the next step for you is opening up more opportunities for other people. How do you think and go about that?
Just playing chess, just being able to move around, I think that's the special ability that I have and what I want to, incorporate, So we're doing a lot of special things. I don't want to give a lot away right now, but it's going to be a really cool year. I'm probably going to play, 8 positions this year, so don't even ask me anymore.
You know, 8 positions.
Yeah.
You said you're going to play 8 positions this year.
Oh, just stay tuned, man. I think I got
8?
Anything that's in that front 7 and some coverage, I'm playing.
Safety and corner.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm gonna do it all. It's gonna be a year to remember for sure.
Ooh, he hit him with the Birdman, rubbing hand. I believe him. I 100% believe him because you can see the excitement in his face. You can feel the excitement. Dan is a mad scientist. I called him Dr. Frankenstein. He puts a lot of things together. Now, last year, I would love to ask this question: did you utilize Micah Parsons in a singular way because of the situation around you, injuries that have happened? Your defense was hit with some concerns in regards to defending the run and whatnot. Now you got guys like a Hankins, you got Mozzie, your secondary is stupid deep. You found out about it, Izzy, second year guys that maybe didn't play a lot, you trust a little bit more. Third year guys now that didn't play a lot, you trust a little bit more. Maybe they feel more comfortable moving Micah back around like they did in his rookie year. And this is something that I had brought up mid-season. Micah Parsons, he grew frustrated last year. Not being able to move around, not being able to utilize his superpower. He was legitimately frustrated. He believes that moving himself around gives him the best shot to be the best him, also to help out the defense. Y'all know the numbers. 700 and something snaps on the defensive line last year, 171 off of it. In his rookie year, he was all over the place. 374 snaps on the D-line, 500 in the box. He even played like 20 snaps, out at corner or whatnot. I think that is the best way to utilize Micah Parsons. He's a fantastic pass rusher. Doesn't mean you don't use him as a pass rusher. In fact, Dan Quinn came out and said he's a pass rushing linebacker. And now you hear Micah say, we got something special. I might have to do some digging. I want to know what's special. We got something special planned. And they got the pieces to use Micah now in a variety of different ways, I think. And I think that's the best way to use Micah. Micah knows the best way to use Micah. And he this is facts. He even came out and kind of was open to it after the season. But during the season, he was extremely frustrated with the way he was being used. So I look forward to Micah actually being moved around this year. Now, is it going to be the same as his rookie season? 300 on the D-line, 5 in the box? Probably not. You'll probably still see Micah Parsons play more on the defensive line, but will you see that ratio 8-1, 7-1? I don't think you'll see that ratio. No, I don't think you'll see that. I think it'll be split a little bit more. He even joked around about doing some coverage things, and that probably will happen early on. I think it favors your defense if you use Micah Parsons as a chess piece early in downs. And then when it's time and obvious passing down, third down situation, second and long, I'm pinning the ear back. I said this last year. I'm not wasting a obvious pass rushing down, dropping Micah Parsons. Not ever happening. But that doesn't mean early on he has to just bang with 330-pound tackles when the play is going to the opposite side. Maybe you line him up on the inside. Maybe you switch him on the other side. Maybe he does drop back at that point in time, because you don't know where you're going to put Micah Parsons. But that is his superpower, man, his versatility. And he said it, quote, playing chess and being able to move around, the special ability I have. One of the best players in the National Football League is telling you that's my special ability. Utilize me in that way. But you got some people that say, oh, no, just put him at one spot. I'm going to side with the best player, one of the best players in the National Football League. Even Dan Quinn probably had to acquiesce. No. Pass rushing linebacker. I digress. He's still talking about Lucky in there. So Micah Parsons moving around. How we feeling about that, Cowboys Nation? I welcome that. I believe it's best for this defense. Now, if you deal with injuries, right? You get. I don't want to ever put this out there, but let's just say we ended up dealing with some defensive line issues, some defensive end injuries, and now Mike has to play kind of full time there. I get it, but to start the season, and as long as you are, healthy, Micah should definitely be a guy that you move around on this defense, man. Make it difficult for them to spot him, because the first thing, as a quarterback, as an offensive lineman, hell, probably as a running back that I'm doing, where's 11? Where is 11? I'm not saying you do this defensively, because you kind of got to be sounder, pre-snap than offensively. But a guy like Kyle Shanahan, he utilizes these pieces in different ways. You can't do that defensively all the time, but with a player like Micah, I feel like you can. And that's why I think Dan Quinn, the mad scientist, Dr. Frankenstein, is back in that lab figuring out the best ways to utilize Micah Parsons. And I know this, we should know this, because Mike came out and said, oh, we got something special playing. Now, he joked about playing on the other side of the ball, doing some running back things. He was a hell of a running back at Harrisburg High. Hell of a running back. He was for real like Derrick Henry at running back. It was ridiculous to see. But I'm all for moving him around. The best way to utilize him is allow him to be that queen chess piece on the board that they dubbed him his rookie season. Point blank, period. Appreciate you, the guru. Hey, before we do get out of here, I'm not going to do a Hattie B's read, but we do got something special. Get out of the way. We do got something special coming up this Friday. I will be back at Hattie B's. Tyler Smith, who, if you guys remember, he sat down with A to Z. I wasn't able to do the interview. I was out of town at the time. But shout out to my guy Nick for holding it down. He spoke with A to Z, and he signed a football for us. So we're doing a signed football giveaway and hat giveaway. And here's the way to enter the giveaway. Create your Hattie B's reward account. Again, the link is in the bio. It always is. Download the Hattie B's app. Redeem your free $10 gift card. First of all, you should want to do that anyway. You get $10 for free. And then like a post and comment DC4L. And that could be on Instagram. I believe it's posted up there. And I believe on Facebook if you're on Facebook, Cowboys Nation. So again, we're giving away a signed Tyler Smith hat and football this Friday by doing those simple steps. I believe we're revealing the winner on Friday. If not Friday, it'll be next week. So please make sure y'all do that and support your guy and support Tyler Smith. You know, because he is I believe he's a spokesperson for Hattie B's. That's how we got the interview with him. So a little fun giveaway we doing, Cowboys Nation. I'm not sure, Danny, if you guys have Hattie B's in Jersey. I just discovered Hattie B's down here. A lot of in fact, I discovered a ton of hot chicken spots now. I mean, I ain't going to say we Hattie B's over here, but there are a lot of hot chicken spots in Dallas and in Texas that I wasn't aware of prior to coming down here. Let's get to some of these super chats on the way out. Where we at? Perfect timing, man. Then we'll get back into the chat. Shout out to Tacoma John. Appreciate you.
Super chat.
There we go. Says, I'm excited about that Mozzie pick and what it'll do for our linebackers and Micah at defensive end. He brought up Mozzie Smith in his interview. He's excited for Mozzie as well. Look, man, I can't wait. Like Mike McCarthy said in his presser, I can't wait for the pads to get on Mozzie Smith. You can't really gauge anything from Mozzie Smith. Shout out to John Oney. He's looking for the stance. He's looking for the Mozzie Smith switching up his stance. But you really can't get the full Mozzie Smith effect until you put them pads on and he put them paws on you for real. And we had this conversation on Vach's show. I have this, I don't call it a bet, but I want y'all to hold me accountable to this. I don't mind that, by the way. I think Mozzie Smith is going to put everybody on their ass on the offensive line, including Zach Martin. He will beat all of them. Now they'll beat him. You know, Tyler and him are going to battle. Zach's probably going to win a lot of them. But I feel like Mozzie Smith, because he has pure, unadulterated strength, power. This isn't something where, you got to get in the weight room, man. You got to get bigger, got to put on. He already coming in built like a house. This is natural, freakish strength. That's something you can't coach, and that's something that you got to prepare for and you got to feel. And I feel like Zach going to feel it, and then he'll be able to know how to beat him from a technical standpoint because he's Zach freaking Martin. But I feel like he's going to beat everybody on that line at one point just because he's just ridiculously strong. Can't wait to see him. Jay Quick. Appreciate you, Jay.
Super chat.
He dropped a couple. Actually, this is on Mo's. So let me give a shout out to Mo's show. He said, "You're the best, man. Keep up the great work." And Mo is, by the way. Mo is absolutely killing it with the primetime show. Somebody earlier said I got to pop on Mo's show. I do, because he came on here and I got to pop on primetime, man. That'd be fun. I do miss doing the night shows, not going to lie. I missed that a little bit. Danny said Mozzie's going to retire Tyron. Relax. Mozzie on Tyler Smith. That should be an epic battle. Oh, it will. 100% it will. Real quick, just to kind of touch base on what we talked about earlier, seeing, who was it? Matt Walesko at left guard. I will give them credit for this. They're experimenting on the offensive line probably more than they did last year, likely because they dropped the ball on that. The only thing that I don't use the word concerns me, that makes my antennas pop up here, which is why, and it's something I had in notes that I didn't bring up, which is why I think that Tyler Smith might be long for left tackle for the season, is they're not putting Tyler Smith. He's been exclusively at left tackle. So they're not putting Tyler Smith at left guard. Shout out to John Machota. He was on Foots's show. If you didn't check that out, go check that out as well as the Brian Broaddus. I haven't been able to watch it. It's like 2 hours, so I didn't get a chance to go watch the Broaddus joint yet. But Machota was on with Foots, and he said something that I was like, you know what, that makes sense here. There is no belief, and again, Gel can confirm this. Terrence Still has not taken any mental reps, whatever reps, and has not been asked or told that he's playing left guard yet. But the belief in that building or around that building is that Tyler's going to be your left tackle. And it'll be down to Tyron and Terrence at right tackle, which means left guard is going to be somebody else. And it might not be Terrence. Left guard could potentially just be another guard. Or maybe they try this Walesko thing, which I don't think is a thing. But Terrence or Tyron could be your swing, which it should be Tyron. Could be your swing tackle. And that's just that. And that's all I've been asking. Like, I would much rather them have Terrence Still right tackle, Tyron swing, and we figure out left guard, than have right tackle Tyron and put Terrence at left guard. Would much rather the opposite. So that's something to keep an eye on too as we move forward here into minicamp. Minicamps, I believe, will be open to the media. I got to confirm that with my guy. But we'll be talking more about that tomorrow. In fact, we'll be talking about a specific position group leading up to minicamp. And then Pat will be on Thursday, and we'll talk all about what happened at minicamp day 1. DeGuru still has been at OTAs. Yes, he's been there taking mental reps and doing things off on the side and whatnot. But he hasn't been on the field to play in 7-on-7s or 11-on-11s. 7-on-7. He hasn't been on the field to take any real reps, but he's down at OTAs. He's present. He's there. He's there, man. All right, Cowboys Nation. I think that's going to do it. They 100% are, Danny, throwing shit at the wall, hoping it sticks. 100%. Exactly, Professor O. He says, I'd rather them experiment now than do a hockey-style line change in-game like Philbin. Right. And that's where I give them credit, is that they're trying to do all of that now at left guard. If the plan is to play left tackle Tyler Smith, figure out left guard now, heading into minicamp, heading into training camp. So we're not waiting week 4. Tyron goes down. We're moving guys all over the place. No, sirree, Bob. No, sirree, Bob. All right, man. Good stuff today. I really wanted to focus on Micah and some of the things that Steven said. Not everything. You got to take some things that the Joneses say with a grain of salt. Definitely Jerry. But I did think that the contract talks and the Jordan Lewis and trade updates were interesting things to touch on. So if you missed that, run that back. That's what we discussed today. Pretty solid opening week show. Tomorrow we'll be back on both shows, by the way. Be back with Vosh Lombardi live tomorrow. But Mo will be on later tonight. And do Mo, ourselves, and all the fantastic writers on AtoZSportsDallas.com. Head over there for all your Cowboys up-to-date info. And when I say up-to-date, anything that come out, boom, those boys are on it. So make sure you support the movement, because that's what it is, man. Support the movement. And not just the movement here, man. The movement in the community. The landlords, the final words, the Tucks, the Romes, obviously, the round table, like everybody that's out here crushing it in this community. When I say crushing it, I don't look around everywhere else. I don't look at the Saints. I don't look at the Giants, although shout out to my guy Authentic. I don't look at Philly. I don't even like this talking ball with those dudes. But I can say this with confidence. Ain't nobody with us. Just not, man. It's just not. What we're bringing, I think, to the table here consistently, every day. Ain't nobody messing with it. I just don't. So make sure y'all keep supporting Movement Cowboys Nation and keep supporting your boy. Follow me on Twitter at Skywalker Still, as well as you can hit me up on IG. I don't really be on there, but I'm on there. Can you hear me? Yeah, we back tomorrow, man. I'm actually excited for that. Always miss doing the afternoon show with my guy. Oh, Mark, the camp battles down there are going to be crazy. for sure. I'm out of here. Love y'all. Peace.